Okay, hello, welcome to another session. And for this class, we'll be talking about understanding dyscalculia. And on the YouTube link or the YouTube site, you would see some things about dyscalculia. But like I said in my previous class on dysgraphia, everything about learning difficulty has been updated from 2024 to 2025. So now you have the previous knowledge, because no matter how updated it is, you will still need the background knowledge. So the background knowledge is the video you see on YouTube, but this here is the updated knowledge. Now, what is dyscalculia? But before we talk about what dyscalculia is, this is just it. So dyscalculia actually works on counting, memory, numbers, measure, spatial and temporal, and calculations. Those are the basic core of dyscalculia. I'll go again: counting, memory, numbers, measures, spatial, temporal, and calculations. Now, every other part you would get it in your slide, so that I would not talk for too long. Okay, so these are the factors that affect a child that has dyscalculia, from the need to constantly relearn and recap skills, struggle to understand chronologies, issues with place value, struggling handling money, problems understanding concepts in maths, confuses left and right, map reading difficulties, problems telling the time, struggle transferring information, and so on and so forth. So now, what is dyscalculia? Dyscalculia is just a persistent difficulty in understanding numbers, quantity, math concepts, sequencing, and problem solving. Causes of dyscalculia: genetic predisposition. That's why most learning difficulty are inherited, especially from the mother's side. Brain difference is in parietal lobe, that's the number sense area. So as a learning interventionist or as a therapist, you are partially a doctor, because you must know parts of the brain. Now, poor working memory, premature birth or low birth weight, delayed cognitive processing, limited early numeracy exposure, and co-occurring ADHD or dyslexia. So that is why in one of my videos you will hear me say some learning difficulties are linked. Not even some, most learning difficulty or special need are linked. Like I talked about ADHD, I talked about dyscalculia and dysgraphia being linked. Even dyscalculia and dyslexia too is being mixed. Dyslexia and dysgraphia is being mixed. ADHD is also another factor. So all these are things that affect or that plays a major role in learning difficulty. And we also have types of dyscalculia. So I'll be going into the types of dyscalculia now. Like I said, this is an updated version. We have procedural dyscalculia, and this is when an individual has difficulty remembering and applying steps in math. For example, you're doing counting in twos. You've done 2, then you do 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the child automatically forgets the rules. Okay, anything that has to do with procedure in calculation, steps, rules, the person, the individual won't remember how to apply them in math. Number 2 is semantic dyscalculia. And semantics, even in English, in dyslexia, we also have semantics. If you're looking for method on how to help dyslexic learner, you will see where you have to talk about semantics, I talk about syntax. But here now there's semantic dyscalculia, and this is where semantics practically just means significance or meaning, the meaning of a thing. And this is where the individual, because I'm not using a child, because especially in therapist, you might necessarily not work with a child. You might be working with an adult with special an adult with special need. So, or a teenager with special needs. So this person will not be able to recall math fact. For example, 6 times 3. The child don't know, okay, I have to just count 6 30 times, but I have to count 3 6 times. The child will be thinking, okay, 6 times 3. Jack at 30 times 3 is 9, because the child will forget what multiplication, okay, means. And then number 3 is visual spatial dyscalculia. And this is where the child or the individual has difficulty aligning numbers, reading graphs, or seeing patterns. So visual spatial just actually mean patterns. And if you recall, in this graph we talked about patterns. So basically, learning difficulty basically tends to work with patterning. And this is why you have to teach patterns. So I will show you what this patterning, how it affects those with dyscalculia. Now look at these exercises, okay? the first one, if you get it, good. Okay, so the first one, you're seeing circle the number. The second one, you're seeing complete the pattern, and then you're seeing semantics. So I think it should be easy for you to understand where each falls. So you're seeing semantics, right? So these semantics, where you understand the series. You see the concept, identify patterns. And they say we can use addition, subtraction, or multiplication table. But now the child must start thinking of where it falls. Oh, which one is some addition, between subtraction? Now, say these patterns. And I don't know if you, in some mental math, you will see where, like an arrangement of patterns, like triangle, a certain shape will be formed. They will ask the person, what's the next one after this one? Then the child will have to start thinking of the next shape. That is where patterning comes in. That is for those that has to do with the visual spatial dyscalculia. Then this circle the number is the procedural. Those are the ones that do with patterning. So this one is not just counting the numbers. They are counting they are counting, but they have to now guess, okay, which one is the correct one? Because they're giving different numbers. They have to select out of the numbers to pick, and there's a rule: circle the number, not just count and write. Circle the number. So these exercises that speaks of the three types of the updated type of dyscalculia. So real life illustration. Amma, she's 10 years old, very smart, but still count fingers for simple. So like 2 plus 3, we can't know the finger. Confuses left and right. Misplaces numbers when adding. Cannot remember multiplication tables, and panics during math tasks. Amma is exhibiting what? Visual spatial plus semantic dyscalculia. So I would just enjoy it if you can sit down and start thinking, okay, so which one is semantic? Which one is showing that she has visual spatial? Okay, so I'm putting this illustration so that you can give yourself a task, because it's when you actually give yourself a task you remember what you've learned. Now, the therapy strategy. You have concrete manipulatives. I hope you know what manipulatives are. Building blocks, chart lines. Now, number sense concepts, introduce them slowly. Okay, not because you have to follow a scheme. Thank God you're becoming therapists, not just classroom teachers, which means you're working one-on-one with a child. So you introduce the number sense concepts slowly. Visual support, use images more. Okay, you want to teach multiplication, download the ones with images. You want to teach, when you go and you see multiplication and you're seeing box. Oh, like the 6 times 3, you see 6 balls in a square shape 3 times. The child has to count it together and additions and get the answer. That's the visual concept of visual support to multiplication. The repetition and drill for facts. Break math into tiny steps. Use real life scenarios. Like, for example, you want to teach addition. Give all of them 2 pencils. Count the pencils together. How many do we have? Don't do subtraction. Give them pencils. Oh, let's subtract this pencil from this person's hand. How many is left? So use real life scenarios and reduce text in word problem. So in word problem, use limited text, not this one that is in our textbook. If you want to get good ones, there are this is it shelt or slet? Let's LETTS. They have very good word problem based textbook that would help children with special needs, that allow extra time, and for those with dyscalculia, don't time their tests. So use math app too, like MathSeed, Montessori Maths, CanKit Academy, the Stafford. We have loads and loads of math app or math sites you can use to teach children with or individuals with dyscalculia. Now, this is a self-reflection task. Which type of dyscalculia have you observed the most? Now, so you have to go watch the video on YouTube on dyscalculia, then come back to the slide, update your knowledge, then you now check, okay, so what type of dyscalculia have I observed more? Do you rely more on abstract teaching or concrete manipulatives? Number 3, what new tools or visuals can you add to the dyscalculia that you've noticed before? And how do you currently handle math anxiety in children? Now, this is not for anybody. This is for yourself. And this is going to help you when you have to do your practicals, when you have to intern, or when you have to submit a task later in the nearest months or days. So thank you very much, and hope you are getting something from this class. Once again, I'm Empress Thelma Igwe, the Anointed Teacher, and see you in our next class.